Welcome to our iMovie presentation on the Irish Revolution. This project consisted of us working on a machine that explains our revolution through metaphors. The main goal of this project was to answer a question: how does an idea drive change? This is the Irish Revolution. It all started in 1845 when a fatal disease called the Great Famine spread around the whole of Ireland. This disease strongly affected crops, killing so many that it put most of the citizens in the country into starvation.
The government ignored the disease and continued on with their riches, shutting out the pleas of hunger from their country. This caused the citizens to get angry. The government didn't care about them and they wanted a change. A group called the Irish Republican Brotherhood formed. This was an anti-government organization which felt that the society needed a change. As the years went on, the government made more and more decisions that the Irish people didn't like. Because of this, more and more people decided to join the IRB and other groups that shared the same ideas. The government started to feel overwhelmed and against the odds with these groups forming against them. This led up to a bigger force against the government when the group finally decided to launch an attack on him.
The time came where the IRB and the Irish citizens launched a massive attack against the government in the capital city of Dublin. It was a short war that only lasted 5 days, but in that time 485 rebels were killed by the government. The rebels surrendered after this, and 15 of their leaders were taken hostage and to be executed. The government decided to leave the country because it wasn't worth the trouble it had caused them. A couple years later, the Irish people created the Free State, and it was formed as a democracy. From then on, a lot of good happened to the Irish people, and they raised statues to commemorate the fallen rebel leaders that had sacrificed themselves for their country. Even today, the democracy still stands that all those rebels created 100 years ago. Every year, they hold a celebration to celebrate these brave people that died for their country, believing that they could make a difference. The revolution lasted 100 years, and the outcome greatly helped the country and what it is today.
In the revolution, the leaders let their country fall, and so we thought an actual broken ruler at the start of the machine would represent the weak rulers at that time. The objects we used to take the path of the machine were potatoes. This represented the Great Famine, which kick-started the whole revolution. This is why we started the machine with the potatoes falling down.
Next, the potatoes would roll in a series of pipes that would continue down the machine. This would represent the downfall of the British government in Ireland as more and more people started to lose faith in the government.
The potatoes would then roll down a pipe into a funnel that would represent how everything was going in circles during the revolution. It was like this for a couple of years until some important and brave people decided to do something about it. After the funnel, we decided it would be best to do something that would represent the slow fall of the British government and the rise of the new Irish government. For this, we made the potatoes roll down a piece of wood and then into a pipe where it would roll down and hit a switch, which would then trigger some lights surrounding the Irish flag to symbolize the new era for Ireland.
As the potatoes reach the end of the machine, they roll by a statue of a soldier. This represents the statues that the Irish built to commemorate the fallen soldiers and townsfolk during the war. These statues helped the country recover from the revolution. We started off creating a blueprint for our machine. This gave us a brief idea of what metaphors we would incorporate in our machine. After we finalized our blueprint and draft, we brought in supplies. Supplies varied from wood to PVC pipe, etc. We then began creating our bases and frame for the machine. The side pointed vertically would be the frame. It would have all of the materials and metaphors on it. The piece that was placed horizontally would act as the base of our machine, holding up the frame. Once we finished cutting the boards, we continued on bringing supplies for the start of our machine. We began gluing the pipes, which would guide the potatoes. Then we started to create the funnel. The funnel was made out of a Pringles can, and soon after, we added nails to it to represent the war. After we were done the funnel, we started on the circuits. We got the circuits and batteries from the science room. We added them to our machine and placed lights that surrounded the Irish flag. We then added a few more pieces of wood that guided the potatoes to the statue. That's our project. In this iMovie, we talked about the metaphors we used, the machine itself, and the revolution. Thanks for listening.